Peace to the gods, shout out to the goddesses. I go by Naafie Bay, the hip hop magi, or Naafie for short, whichever one floats your boat, right? And I'm here to really talk about, POE, the mentality, what exactly it means, right? And kind of my influence and thoughts as far as bringing this brand about. So originally it actually started as a rap group. You know what I'm saying? We was just supposed to be kind of very much so like a pro era type of vibe. Very much so like a that type of thing. Like an Odd Future, that type vibe. But over time, life happens, you know what I mean? And the brothers, they ended up going on to do different things, right? Going on about their life, right? And I ended up, just through life circumstances and all of that, myself, actually creating like a company out of it. Originally, it was supposed to be, so as far as the company, right? My initial idea with the company was to reach the gamer dudes, because I grew up a nerd. I love video games, books, that type of thing. So, originally POE was supposed to be the company that was going to be used to awaken the nerd community, right? And help them see higher consciousness and things like that. And as I learned and studied and all of these things, it became bigger than simply awakening the nerds, but more so about awakening humanity. And that's how we started diving into the arts, right? I've been a music head, right? I've been an artist, an MC, a poet. That's something that's just been, in my life. But as far as being more esoteric with it, that started to happen over time. Some interesting things happened on my come up as an artist. But overall, we really didn't dive deeper into like the esoteric sciences until later in life, until I got older. Wow, I'm looking at a rabbit right now, y'all. It's crazy. So as we did this, POE really became like the mentality that I lived by, perception over everything, right? So, what does that really mean, right? So when I say you're probably gonna hear it in my beat tags. You probably heard me say it on social media, POE the gang, you did. And this is kind of the hand symbol that I've used to represent that, right? P-O, the O, and then E, right? POE. So, this became the mentality because as I grew into the sciences, as I studied, as I just learned more, I saw that the difference in what people was looking at wasn't necessarily the principles or the knowledge itself, right? I have a song where I say knowledge is cohesive, not specific. That's why knowledge is infinite, because there's infinite connections between things. I started to see that those connections are all the same. It's just that our view of it is different. I was sitting here meditating and I thought about the sky, right? We all see the sky, right? You see the sky in the background, right? We all see the sky, but we all have a different perspective of the sky based on where we are. So the issue with humanity right now is that we all see the sky, but there's one group of people that think that their version of the sky is the end all be all. So that's like, I'm on the East Coast, right? Eastern Standard Time. That's like me saying Eastern Standard Time should be the time scale for the entire globe. And we know that that's not true because other areas of the globe experience daylight and nighttime different than we do. Even the very East Coast we live on, they experience daylight and nighttime different than the East Coast does. So there's already a discrepancy there. So, as I continue to learn and grow, and still continue to learn and grow, I'm starting to see and realize that, it's simply just our perspective, right? Our perspective is how we interact with the world around us, right? So of course we have knowledge, right? The infinite connections between things. Of course we have knowledge, but then it's our interpretation of the knowledge that dictates how we move in reality. And we are looking at, people tend to follow their interpretation instead of following the base idea, aka the universal truth itself. Like, it's universally true you're alive if you're watching this video. Like, there's no argument there. How your life is your perception, right? But the whole goal of the brand was and is to help us see the same picture, right? Even through our own lens. So even if I'm wearing a pair of glasses and you're wearing a pair of shades, we can still look at the same thing and see the same picture, regardless if I have on glasses or if you have on shades, right? And that, I think, is where we're beginning to walk to, simply because we see that certain needs aren't being met, and that's on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level, right? We're seeing that these needs aren't being met, and even though we have a different approach on how those needs should be met, right? Different strokes for different folks. The needs are still the same. We still all need food, clothing, and shelter. Some people like to pillage and steal for the shit. Some people like to give until they get it. Some people like to work until they get it. Some people like to beg until they get it. But the base of what we need is still the same, right? Everyone needs emotional support. How they receive and give that is different. Everyone needs a way to provide for themselves. How they see and get that is different. How they receive and give that is different, right? Everyone, at least I think, deserves to raise their awareness. How you receive and give that is different, right? So, all of these things being said, right, this is where POE kind of comes in. I've changed my mission statement quite a few. I changed the mission statement quite a few times. And the one that I'm sticking with now is helping souls see their highest destiny through music and cardiology. Simply because throughout my journey, these are the things I've seen that I'm really good at. These are the things I've seen that is my real skill set, is the value that I bring to people. And these two things alone branch off into pretty much everything else that I could get involved with. Music is, some people say, the king of all professions. So of course there's visuals that go along with that. Of course there's fashion that goes along with that, right? And music itself is magic, right? Cardiology is essentially astrology using playing cards. So of course astrology is involved with that. Of course other forms of divination are involved with that. And this is where I got the name Hip Hop Magi from. Hip hop is the culture that I originally grew up with, graffiti writing, MCing, DJing, and breakdancing, right? The 4 elements of hip hop, and then the 4 principles: peace, love, joy, unity, right? These things, all that humanity has done since it's been on the planet, right? That's why hip hop is as successful as it is today, because it reminds us of our humanness. And then, hip hop being an intelligent movement, right? That's originally what hip hop was supposed to be about, is growing our intellect and doing so in a moving fashion, always up towards the scale, always enlightening ourselves, always learning, and then expressing that, right? And then magi being magician, imagination, right? One who works with unseen forces to, again, affect the reality that we do see, because something unseen is the one that's watching this video and taking note of it, right? The physical is being controlled by that unseen thing that's listening to me. So, right, that's where we get the magi from, right? The 3 magi in the Bible, right? And I'm not the only magi, there are other people who you would consider magi as well. That could be your tarot readers. That could be people who, practice other forms of divination. People who lead ceremonial rites, shamans, etc. All of these people are also magi, right? Different, again, different name, same concept, right? So, although I do enjoy that title, it was something that was given to me by a higher power. Like it was bestowed upon me. I ain't really like, you know what I mean? Like it just, and it fits so well for me. So, and encompasses the totality of who I am. So kind of can't really move from it. Like it feels right. So, anytime you hear POE the gang, because perception is everything. That's why we say POE the gang, because we understand that reality is bigger than just what we're seeing with our physical eyes, right? It's our first eye, our inner eye of interpretation of what's the word? It's our inner eye of interpretation that is giving meaning to our life, right? It's our interpretation of life that gives meaning to it, not necessarily life itself. Life is. How you interpret it is on you. It's your perception, right? And your perception is not the only one. There are others, right? But the base, again, the base idea is there. You're alive, you're breathing. How you're breathing, how you're alive, all that other stuff is individual to you, but you can't negate life itself, right? So this is where, things like the universal principles, the 7 hermetic principles, this is where, all of these things start to kind of get into play, because now you're starting to see that there are truths that exist not only in your reality, but in everyone else's. And how you use those is, again, on you. But you can't negate the base truths, right? And, the whole goal of POE, like I said, is to help us see our highest destiny, which that's going to look different for everyone. It's going to be a different journey for everyone. And some people are meant to see their highest destiny, other people aren't. But that's not something that we can necessarily argue with. All we can do is be an example of that. So, that's pretty much my reasoning behind POE, perception over everything, right? That the whole mentality. And no matter what conversation I have or witness, no matter, where I decide to go in my journey, I just see that people begin to talk about perception a whole lot. Like, it's like, it's the unspoken it is kind of spoken of, but it's the foundation, right? Your perspective is the foundation for everything. Your perspective is how you manifest. It's how you treat people. It's how you see it's the foundation for everything. So, like I said, I live and die by that. Perception really is everything. So that's going to be it for this video. There are many ways for you to support me. You can head to perceptionovereverything.com/shop to get the ebook. My music is no longer on streaming platforms because they don't pay artists shit. So you can feel free to download those from my website. I do have an NFT available. Just message me about that or leave a comment down below. I do have a book as well, The Art of Inspiration, The Highest Human Act, because once we understand our perception, the highest thing we can do to inspire someone to follow theirs is to stick to our own, right? We inspire through example, right? By being your authentic self. That's how you inspire people. And in order to do that, it takes a lot of self-reflection. So this is a poetry book that is made to help you self-reflect so that you can be your authentic self. And then by doing that, inspire others to be their authentic selves, and ask them to follow their journey. Because a real teacher, a real master is going to always lead you back to yourself. That person is never the end all be all, right? So I want to lead you to you, not to me, right? Even if you're looking at me, I'm gonna point right back at you and say you the GOAT, that you have the power and all of these things, right? So yeah, that poetry book, super duper dope. You're definitely gonna see some familiar stuff in there if you've been rocking with me for some years. If you're interested in a cardology reading, the link to the booking site is also in the shop, so feel free to head there and book a session with yours truly. I don't just do cardology readings. I also offer spiritual guidance. I also offer information for artists and creatives as far as their intellectual property, as far as how to kind of create that foundational business, right? Because again, the principles of business are the same. How they changed and how they evolved will be different, but the base idea of business will still be the same, right? So great customer service, having a product or service that brings value, keeping in contact with the people that rock with you. These type of principles will always be there. How that manifests will be different based on how we evolve, but the base idea is always there. So I do offer consultation on that as well. Let's see. And yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, and of course, like I said, the music, right? I do have features on streaming platforms, but my personal music is no longer on streaming platforms. The only way to really get that is probably gonna end up, if it's still there, it'll be gone eventually. So the only way to really like stay with those, stay up to date on the music, is to download it from the site. Like I said, just head to the shop. There's also a free PowerPoint called The Art of Playing Cards that pretty much break down the science of playing cards, what they are and how they translate, and it'll help you understand why not only we as melanated people, but on the planet resonate with playing cards so heavily. Other than that, guys, I mean, that's it, that's all. So thank you for watching. I'm hoping you'll definitely tune into more videos, and POE the gang, you dig? Peace.